Hello, I'm Haley, and this is Taya, and welcome to Haley and Taya Rip Up Supernatural and Start Over, and also sometimes talk about other stuff, a podcast.
Also known as HATRUSA. And today we are going to be talking about Season 1, Episode 3, Dead in the Water.
Also known as Haley's favorite episode of all time.
Also known as possibly one of their best Monster of the Week episodes of all time.
Absolutely.
I know we've only watched 3 episodes, and there are 15 seasons and 320 episodes, but this one is so memorable.
Yeah, and so when it comes to our quick little summary, I think that I can easily sum this up in 3 sentences.
Oh, okay. Let's go for it.
All right. Sam and Dean find out about a string of drownings that people have been accusing of being suicides, but they go to the town and through their sleuthing, with the help of a 8-year-old child, 10-year-old, 8-year-old, I don't remember, a child, with the help of a child, find out that it is a vengeful spirit who is after the descendants and family of the 2 boys who caused his death directly by drowning him.
Yeah. And the Wikipedia page does not have an age on Lucas.
I don't remember.
The kid. No, it doesn't. I checked.
No, I know, but I straight up, like, I feel a little bad that I don't remember, because I love him so much.
How, Haley, how can you feel bad about not knowing this kid's age when the Wikipedia page doesn't have his age, so I can only assume that they did not tell us his age?
Because I just love him so much.
I know, but that doesn't change the fact that you can magically know his age.
Like, how cool would it be if I knew his age, though? That's all I'm saying.
I don't know if that would... cool would be a... cool would be a weird way to describe it, but...
It's fine. Anyway, so in the last 35 years, drownings have happened, and you're like, oh no, that's crazy. But then you find out, oh fuck, the fucking police chief murdered a child when he was a child as well, with his friend.
As some bullying.
With some bullying, and they pass it off. It's really fun when they pass it off, because they're like, he was the littlest one in the group, so we bullied him all the time, so like, it was fine. But then we were holding his head underwater and he stopped moving. Oopsie. Like, and motherfucker.
Whoops-a-daisy. Now he's dead, guys.
Now he's, like, super dead. And also, we let his body sink to the bottom of the river and never gave his family closure? Motherfucker.
Yeah, we're still technically kind of in the summary because we did a super brief one. But, like, that was weird to me because, like, why... I mean, I guess they didn't know where he went missing, but, like, they do have this giant-ass lake in the town. Why wouldn't they think to, like, what's it called, drag it?
You'd figure I'd know with all the fucking true crime I watch, but I don't know.
They actually mention it in the episode because when they're talking about the first death...
Right.
Which is the daughter
Sonar Sweep.
Huh?
It says Sonar Sweep.
Okay. But yeah, so basically, we haven't gotten into this yet because conveniently Sam and Dean haven't had to do this yet, but usually for vengeful spirits, what they just have to do is they have to either find the remains or this one special item that is, like, holding the ghost to life.
Yeah.
And they have to salt it and burn it. So that was their plan, but they didn't need to because basically... So, the entire family of the first guy who killed the boy
gets extinguished.
Dies. His daughter drowns in the lake while swimming. His son drowns in a sink, which is a terrifying scene. And then he essentially gives himself up and drives out into the lake in a boat and lets himself get killed.
And the boat, like, flips, and it's honestly one of the funniest scenes in the episode, if not the funniest, because, like, the episode's not funny.
It shouldn't be funny, it's just the special effects are so terrible in that scene that you, like,
That
you
it's
have to
funny.
laugh a little. You have to laugh a little bit.
Because it really just, like,
And
goes in the air.
yeah. And then you find out that the mom of the little kid that we've been following around, her husband also drowned a few years back, and the kid survived, which is why he has PTSD and he doesn't speak, but he draws a lot. And obviously he draws, like, they call them premonitions, but basically just, like, you know, like the bicycle the kid drew and the kid rode, and like the house he lived in, and the black swirling water. But basically, after the boat incident thingamabobber, Sam and Dean get caught as not, what were they saying? Federal wildlife officers? Yeah, because someone fucking double checked.
The sheriff was like,
Duh.
hey, by the way, I know that you're not what you say you are, so get the fuck out of here or die.
Yeah, he was literally like, I can report you or you can leave. And I was like, wouldn't it be a crime to not report them?
Yes.
Like, anyway, but they start to leave, and Dean gets a bad feeling, so he turns them around, which is really funny because they straight up, like, they're leaving.
Yeah.
They were like, okay, and started to leave. Like, they were just gonna leave while this thing was killing people.
And Dean
And
stalls
they
at the
leave.
light and he's like, Sam's like, it's green. Dean, it's green. And Dean's like, fuck off. And then goes the other way.
And then they go back. We're in Wisconsin, by the way.
Yeah, we're in Wisconsin.
Because there was a Milwaukee sign. That's in Wisconsin, right?
Yeah, it's in Wisconsin.
Awesome. And so they go back to Andrea. Did I mention her name was Andrea?
I think
hope
so.
I did. That's the mom of the little boy. And she had been taking a bath, and she is currently being drowned in the bathtub. And it is terrifying.
It's also highly upsetting because Lucas is on the other side of the door fucking screaming for his mom and pounding on the door because he knows something's wrong.
Though. That's the thing.
Okay, he's not screaming. He's like whining.
He's mute because of his trauma. So he's just desperately, like, banging on the door as his mom is drowning in this bathtub. And Sam and Dean show up, and, like, Dean doesn't even get to ring the doorbell before, like, Lucas throws open the door and, like, grabs his arm, and he's, like, gasping and drags him upstairs, and you can see, like, the water running down the stairs, and Dean has to kick the door of the bathroom open, and Sam has to, like, really pull to get Andrea out of that bathtub.
Yeah.
And
it's not great.
It's so scary. And they sit her down, they explain what happened, and they look through pictures and they realize the sheriff is involved in this, your dad is involved in this. And Lucas brings them outside and finds this red bicycle that belonged to the kid that died, and the sheriff shows up and points a gun at them, and it's like, what the fuck? What are you doing? And Andrea's like, did you kill someone? And that's where the whole, like, oh, he was the smallest one, we all used to bully him.
Yeah.
But then, you know, things happened. And they're like, please don't say you let the body fucking drift. And he's like, we left the body drift. And then...
in the background, Lucas is like...
Lucas was told to stay in the house and lock the doors. But he hears a voice saying, play with me.
Play with me.
And he goes out to the dock, and there is an army figure floating in the water. And there have been army figurines throughout this episode.
Yeah.
And actually some peak, like, real quality foreshadowing for that one or whatever. And he reaches in to try to get it, and Lucas gets yanked in.
Yeah.
And so everyone notices. Sam and Dean jump in. Andrea almost jumps in, but Sam stops her because the thing will also kill her if she jumps in. And that's when the sheriff realizes, like, fuck, like, I can't let my grandson die. So he wades in. He gets pulled under. He gets killed. Dean saves Lucas. Everything is questionably okay. Lucas starts talking again.
Mm-hmm.
Lucas and Andrea give Sam and Dean lunch. Andrea gives Dean a kiss, and then they drive home. Away.
Most important part is that Dean teaches Lucas the phrase Zeppelin rules, and it's just the cutest thing in the world, and I love it a lot. It's my favorite episode.
It's good. It's a good episode. It's got really good suspense. I don't know what it is about the drowning episodes, because there's another episode that I remember. It's the one with the creepy doll room in like a hotel.
God, you'd figure I'd remember that because I am afraid of dolls, but I don't know what you're talking about.
Someone almost drowns in a pool. Like,
oh!
Yeah. Like Sam has
the haunted doll.
Yeah, Sam has to get her out of
Yes.
the like pool lining.
Yeah,
and
I
they
remember.
both almost drown. I don't know what it is about the supernatural episodes where characters like drown or almost drown, but they're like the best ones. They're like the scariest ones.
Yeah. So like, I'm just gonna say it, like, Hatrusa rewrite, this episode does not need to change, like, at all.
The only thing I would personally change was I don't think that Dean needs a kiss from Andrea at the end. That's such a tiny thing.
Hey, here's the thing.
Yeah.
That's gonna be mentioned in, right now in Haley's notes. That's right, I've segued us perfectly into our little section, with my notes, and I have great news. I took more notes this time.
Oh, fantastic.
So, the first note that I have, which we've already mentioned, is that we were in Wisconsin. And, I just thought that was pretty neat, because we're going to Wisconsin pretty soon, and...
Are you hoping to meet some drowned 12-year-olds?
I don't think Macy would love meeting drowned 12-year-olds.
You never know.
But I just thought it was kind of fun. It's like, wow, my favorite episode of Supernatural is the same place where my girlfriend lives. That's so funky. That's so crazy. Anyway, we're in Wisconsin.
We're in Wisconsin.
But then our next note that I have here is nothing in cereal bowl, because in the opening shot we see the brother of the first girl who drowns, who's also, the brother is the second victim of the episode, but the brother is eating cereal, and there's no cereal in his bowl as he's eating the cereal.
It's really funny. You can't super tell at first, but when he moves to put the bowl in the sink, you're like, oh, there was nothing in that bowl.
Yeah.
There was nothing. There was no milk, no anything. It's very funny.
That part was really good. My next note is slow-mo bubbles and a long... I wrote short, but I think that's supposed to say shot. Because as she's drowning...
Yeah, it's a really long... So this is the very first death of the episode before Sam and Dean arrive. This is I think the wiki page says her name was Sophie. She's 18. She's a swimmer. She is the daughter of the other dude involved in the death, which is not the sheriff. We didn't do a great summary, but it's fine.
It's fine.
But when she gets pulled under, it's like a real long shot, and it's like slow-mo bubbles. They used a good amount of slow-mo in this episode, and I will say, they could use a little less slow-mo.
Yeah, we could also change that in the rewrite. Less slow-mo.
Yeah.
So, then I've written, I love Star Wars, ! Smiley face. Because, the ongoing trope of Sam and Dean's little agent names that they use. In today's episode, they have used, Agent Ford and Agent Hamill, and I went, wow, I love Star Wars so much.
Well, did you notice that the boy's name is Lucas?
Oh my god.
So
That's
it's
so
all
crazy.
connected.
Wow.
That one can't be unintentional because, right, that's gotta be intentional.
It has to be intentional, for sure.
For sure.
There's no way it's not. Then I've written half Shadow Face's return. Because...
It wasn't as bad as last episode, but I hate it. Even in, like, natural lighting, they'll have that half shadow, like, over everyone's face, and I'm like, we get it. You're mysterious. No one knows what's up with you. Like, we get the lighting symbolism. Can I get another light bulb?
Yeah.
Can I please have another light bulb?
Or, like, if not one
You're
light bulb,
outside.
just can you put it, like, in front of you directly? so that we can
Like,
see
you're
your whole face?
outside. You're outside during the day.
There's a
But I
big
will
there's a big light bulb in the sky and it's free.
It's called the sun. Did you have written down anything about the color grade?
Oh, I did not.
Okay, then I'm going to mention that here.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't remember if this is something that persists throughout Supernatural, but the color grading, it's not my favorite. It is very gritty, like kind of desaturated with blown out whites a little bit and darker contrasts. But there's definitely like, it's not very colorful. It's pretty like dull to look at, for a better word, and it's especially noticeable in the water scenes in this episode, and I think it's because they were trying to make the water seem more sinister, so the water is always almost black.
It's really
unless
gross.
unless they're transitioning the water from being completely clear to black, in which it gets this gross sewer color before turning black. But that definitely makes some of the lake scenes like a little wishy-washy. And even Andrea wears like some pinks and I think maybe a little bit of purple at one point, and they don't like pop. They're just they look a little faded.
Yeah, and also like on that note of her wardrobe, she wears a lot of pinks and like colors, but then like after her little traumatic episode in the bathtub, she wears like some gray grounded earthy colors for a while.
Yeah, she wears
really cool.
she wears a blue. She also was in sweats for the first time, which I really like because her outfits have all been I think they've all been skirts, and they've all been pretty put together with like lower cleavage and just like dressed nicely. And like I made fun of the fact that she's kind of like always showing some of her stomach, but like it was the early 2000s, like that's just how fashion was. And then of course once her father dies and the monster has been killed, she goes back to the pinks. But I do love a good costume symbolism, so I did deeply appreciate that. I just think that that's the thing, right? Like the color grade, like it's an aesthetic for the show. It's just like I would like some neons. I'd like some saturated colors.
It's like
I would like them to use some more different lighting, because I feel like they always fall into just kind of like this, like when it's not super dark, just like kind of like this dim, dusky lighting.
Right. So basically, we see what you're going for, but can you try like a little harder to make it like more like poppy?
Mix it up a little. Not every episode has to look the same.
No. My next note is Sam and Dean do not even try to look like professionals. Because they don't. They show up in their little flannels.
I think that they
little leather.
Do they improve on this? I don't know if they actually ever.
I mean, they do in some parts. Like I know Dean wears suits sometimes.
Yeah, I would say most of the time they show up looking like random ass dudes in like layered outfits and are like, we're park rangers. Yeah. And then give a shitty badge.
Right.
Like
my next note is. We're still.
Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
Well, we don't have to go on my next note if we're not done riffing.
Well, my only riff was going to be that Sam is 22 at the most. Like.
Yeah.
They keep saying he's a federal agent, but he's got baby face.
Yeah.
And agents have to go through some level of training. So, like, you can't keep claiming this kid's a federal agent.
Right.
I don't even know if he graduated school. Like, I know he passed, because I know he passed the LSATs. I don't know if he finished his undergrad, though. Because usually I think you have to take those before you graduate, like, if you're immediately going into law school after undergrad.
Yeah.
So, like, does he have a degree? We don't know. We'll never know.
Yeah.
If you know, you should add us and then tell everyone you know to listen to our podcast.
Yeah, that would be a really good thing to do.
Promote our podcast for us. Anyway, next note.
Next note. We love Lucas.
We love Lucas.
We love Lucas. There's not much to say on this one. I just love him.
We love Lucas, and we think that there needs to be a network of therapists specifically that know about hunters. We talked a lot about this in the commentary, so like if that ever gets up and you want to like actually hear about that, We talk about it a lot, but there is this, I wouldn't say idea, but there's like this assumption that like once the ghosts are killed, everything is fine. I would label every single one of these incidents as deeply traumatic, and
Oh yeah.
Lucas's especially, since he's a
Lucas
child.
is Lucas is a victim of an adverse childhood experience. An ace.
He's had multiple traumatic experiences with him seeing his dad die, almost seeing his mom die, almost dying himself,
seeing his grandpa die. Well, no, he didn't see his
I don't know if he
die.
saw that one. He was
underwater
under the water drowning. But it is like the show just moves on, and you assume it's like the next day because Sam and Dean don't stick around in towns once they've solved things. But like Lucas is talking, Lucas is making eye contact, something he only really did like 2 or 3 times with Dean throughout the episode. Yeah. He's like smiling, laughing, talking. He seems like a well-adjusted and normal kid. And Andrea says she's doing okay. And I just want there to be a network of therapists who know about the supernatural, both for hunters and for people who accidentally get involved in the supernatural, for Sam and Dean to hand a business card to and be like, here are some, like, look at this like website we've made, look at this directory, find someone in the area, or you can call them over the phone or email them, just like talk to them, because they're going to believe you. And they're not going to say you are like experiencing hallucinations or delusions or anything like that. Like, that's not going to be put into consideration, because if you go to a normal therapist, that is probably what they would assume, and they would diagnose you differently. Yeah. And I just want hunters and people who get involved with the supernatural unintentionally to actually get help that they need. Right. Because I'm glad Lucas is doing good, but he is a kid who just experienced several really, really traumatic things, and I'm concerned for him.
And he could be doing better.
He could always be doing better. Like, even if he's okay now, there's no saying that when he gets a little bit older, suddenly these things are going to start to come back, or they're going to manifest in other ways.
The boy's never going to go swimming again.
The boy's never going to go swimming again. I really, really want Andrea and Lucas to move out of this town.
Oh, yeah, they need to go. Like, the ghost is gone, but we need them to leave.
I need them to leave. I need them to find somewhere safer for them mentally. And I need them to both get really good therapists who are going to support them.
For sure.
And that's my take, that there just needs to be the acknowledgement of therapy within our rewrite, because it's really important that after events like these, or even just like stressful things, like every single hunter needs therapy, because literally I don't think there's a single hunter who got involved in the business
Hunters just fucking become alcoholics.
Like, I swear to God, every single hunter we meet, they're like, I got into the business because someone I love died. Like, this isn't healthy. Yeah. I understand we need hunters, but, like, we also need therapists, and, like, anyway, you have more notes, and I've been talking for too long about therapy.
Well, I want to add on to this really quick. I think that not only would it be good to acknowledge, but I think that a fun little, like, when I say fun, I mean, like, not fun, but, like, fun little, like, side episode, you know, like, I don't know the word, but, like, just a little, like, campy episode to do would be to, like, do an episode from, like, the main, like, if Sam and Dean have contact with, like, one main little hunter therapist, and they're like, did this person call you yet, or something, I don't know, but, like, show a little day in the life, like, somehow, of that, like, fucking therapy hotline. Yeah. To be like, oh, yes, you had to deal with a, fucking vengeful spirit. We're so sorry. Let's talk about that.
How are you feeling?
So now we get into where I am going to claim my first. for the episode because I get 2.
Yeah, Haley gets 2 because I didn't finish some assignments on time.
So I get 2. I realized while watching that I'm pretty sure that season 1, episode 3, Dead in the Water of Supernatural, solidified baby Haley's Dean love? Buddy, he just pushed my pencil case off my desk. Anyway.
Your cat was like, shut up.
My cat's like, fuck off. And then I've written Dean with child, Dean with child, Dean with child. Thrice.
Dean with child.
Dean with child.
Dean with child.
Baby Haley saw Dean, went, okay, he's pretty handsome. But then she saw Dean taking care of little baby. Child. And she went, oh, okay. I like what's going on here. And I'll tell you something right now. 21-year-old Haley went, oh, okay. I like what's going on here a lot. Nothing's changed. But
yeah, no, you're
oh
exactly the same.
It's exactly the same. I fucking love. It's just like, it's just very nice. It's just a very good attribute.
It's actually really funny because Haley got so worked up about Dean interacting with Lucas, and she actually missed one of like the most gift like Dean scenes ever, where they're in a diner and he has like a pen in his mouth and he like looks up at a waitress and smiles.
Yeah.
And Haley just completely missed it, which was really funny to me.
Yeah, I was so worked up over Dean with child that I like it missed Dean being just like sexy on his own. What of it? And now my next note is also related to the scene where he is talking to Lucas in the park, and I've quoted Dean. He said, "Chicks dig artists," and then he proceeds to draw a portrait of four stick figure. And I was like, bro.
It's a good thing you're gay in Spanish.
Yeah, I was like, wow, artistry.
He was trying to bond.
He was trying to bond. And you know what? I did really like seeing him just like sitting on the edge of the bench holding a notebook and a crayon in his hand.
Yeah.
Ugh, the imagery is just so funny.
You just really want Dean to be a dad, and he only got a chance for like those few months.
We can't talk about
when
it.
Sam was dead after season 5.
We can't talk about it.
Anyway, moving on. Do you have any more notes?
I have so many more notes.
Oh my god, we're gonna go so long.
That's fine. I've written the sink scene delightfully framed. We talked about this a little bit already in the summary, but the sink scene where the brother-son, I don't know his name, I forget, even though I have the Wikipedia page open. Hold on. His name is Will.
Will. Yes, Will.
The brother, his name's Will. His dad's name is Bill, but he's Will. But when he is drowning in the sink, it's fucking terrifying.
It's terrifying.
The framing, the fact that, like, he looks trapped,
yeah.
The jerky movements.
The camera jerks around, the way, he, like, the shots from below, when, you know, when they make, like, an actor, like, fake a drowning and they, like, put them in, like, a plastic bin and shoot from below. Those are really good. It's scary. It's terrifying. And then you just see the water drain away, and you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, and they do this little fake out at first where he goes to, like, pull the plug from the drain, and he, like, pulls the plug, and, like, everything's fine, and the music stops a little bit, and he's like, oh, okay. But wait, there's still, it's not going down. What? And then he dies.
Yeah, and so he has to reach in, and it pulls him in. Ugh.
It's intense.
It's intense.
And then after this, I have written, Dean kept the drawing in his pocket.
Yes, Dean kept, Lucas gave him a drawing of a house, and Dean kept it in his jacket. And so when they go visit the Carlton house, Dean pulls it out of his jacket and unfolds it, and is like, Lucas must know something.
Yeah.
Like, the kid's involved in this.
And I can't actually remember right now if, at that point, we knew that he was involved. We knew he was involved in the drowning, obviously, because they talked to Andrea about it. Anyway, and then after that I wrote, Dean with kids! In all caps.
Is that when they go to his house?
It has, yeah, it was absolutely when they went to his house and he was crouched down on the floor with Lucas, and Lucas, like, Did Lucas talk to him in that scene? No, he just made eye contact
No.
with him in that scene.
Yeah.
And I, like, lost my fucking mind. I was like, oh my god, look at him. He's talking to him, and Lucas is, like, actively, like, listening to him and making eye contact with him. And this is, like, the first, like, interaction level that he's had in however long. And it just really got me. Dean was just very genuine and, like, real with this child kid, and, like,
Yeah.
kills me. Then I've written, shitty green screen makes a comeback, because when they're in the car again, the shitty green screen makes a comeback. And I'm sure that we're going to notice that in, like, a lot of episodes now, because I noticed it once and I'm just never going to be able to forget it.
Yeah, it's not particularly bad on Dean's side, but it's rough
Sam.
on Sam's.
It's Sam and
I don't
his
know.
wispies.
Yeah, I think it's his wispies. It's pretty rough. It was also weirdly, like, white. It was weirdly, like, white.
Yeah, it's like a little halo.
It was too bright.
It's a little halo.
The lighting was bizarre.
After that, I wrote, Army men shot amazing. Because when they go to the mother of the dead kid's house, she has set up, like, all of his old army kids. Army men.
But they're slightly out. They're not in focus.
They're not in focus, like, at all. They're just slightly out of focus on, like, the bottom corner of the screen. And you already know that Lucas has been playing with army men because they're with him when Dean goes to visit him in the park, and Dean, like, makes a comment about the army men, is like, he makes some little gun noises and, like, dances the little army men in the air a little bit, like they're armying. That's not a word.
I think but either Sam or Dean notices and they point to it, and, like, it's just like, oh, like, when we say this kid is involved, like, this kid is, like, involved, which is why the shot of him reaching into the water for an army man is, like, so good.
And it fucking, it's just really good. Then I wrote, the boat flying up, peak.
We talked about this.
This.
It looks bad.
But it was so funny. And then I've written the quote, that's right, I checked, for when the sheriff finds out that they're not real. And he literally, Dean makes a face. He's like, so you're not real forest rangers. And Dean, like, makes a face and looks at him weird. And then he's like, that's right, I checked. And we were like, yeah, that makes sense that you checked, because you should check. Like, check with the credentials. And, like, luckily in later seasons,
it's wild that they don't get caught more often.
I know. Like, in later seasons, if you remember it all, like, they have Bobby. They, like, give Bobby's number as, like, the supervisor, and Bobby starts covering for them a little bit. Which, like, why don't you have that from the beginning, dumbasses?
Because they haven't introduced Bobby.
Yeah, fair. So then, after that, I wrote Dean hold baby. Because Dean hold baby, while Sam was saving Andrea, Dean was, like, holding Lucas back to, like, protect him. And it just
to protect him and to keep him from not entirely seeing what was going on, I think.
Which is also protecting him.
Yeah.
And
because one of the things Dean did to kind of reach out to Lucas was to talk about, like, how he also lost a parent really young. So, like, it's about bonding over shared trauma, you know?
Really gets
I swear we're almost at the end of this episode.
Yeah, so it just really gets me. Dean's sexy. That's my second.
I think okay.
Then I wrote, arm jump scare got us both. I forget. I think that was in the lake.
I think it was too.
When Lucas is, like, when Lucas gets pulled in.
When Lucas gets yanked in, yeah.
We both, like, screamed a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I wrote Goofy Dad Drown Shot, because the dad drowning was a very goofy shot.
Well, the grandfather. The sheriff.
Yes, the sheriff. Andrea's
when
dad.
He gets dragged down, it doesn't... I understand the man was getting pulled underwater. But it's just, like, the look on his face is, like, kind of goofy.
It was just kind of goofy. I think I laughed, and that's not my fault.
I think you might have, yes.
Only 3 notes left, don't worry. My third to last note is that there were 4 deaths in the episode, 5 including the ghost who's already a ghost, and then 6 if you include Andrea's husband who died also. So
Yes, which is a lot of deaths. We've
there's
upped the
so many
deaths.
deaths in this
That's
episode.
if you're counting all of those, that's 6 to last week's 3.
Yeah.
So twice
So
as many.
should we have a death count in every episode?
Sure.
I think that would be a
Episode
good
1
thing.
was also 3, I believe.
That's fun. So then death count 6, and then I wrote Lucas talks now, and then a little crying smiley face because Lucas talks now. The
Yes,
first thing that he says is like he's like, "Can I give them to them? Can I give the sandwiches to them now?" or something like that. And I was just like, "Ugh."
His trauma is magically gone.
It's gone. There's no such thing as trauma.
PTSD whomst.
Nope, doesn't exist. Sorry about it. And then my last note is Taya mentioned it already. Dean does not need to be rewarded in kisses. Andrea does kiss him at the end, and I was like, wow. And then Taya was like, he doesn't need to be rewarded in kisses, and I was like, you're right, but wow. And that's just because I'm me.
Yeah, that's just because you really love Dean.
I
But
just
there is this trend throughout this show of either Sam or Dean getting rewarded by a girl who they've helped save with a kiss. And Dean got a kiss on the cheek in the last episode.
Correct.
And he
from
got
Haley.
a kiss on the lips in this episode.
Yeah.
And they don't need them. You know, it becomes a thing, and it's just like, shouldn't just saving people be enough? And like, obviously some people do show gratitude like through affection. I just don't think it's necessary. And I think it's especially unnecessary because I will admit it's not as bad in this episode as others, but Dean pretty much hits on every single woman. Sam is currently still mourning, but Dean hits on every single woman. So like, Dean's initial goal when he saw Andrea was like, I'm gonna tap that. And obviously that like changed as like the episode went on and his focus became more about Lucas and making sure
Right.
Lucas was okay. But he doesn't need a kiss from Andrea. Like,
You know what would have been more rewarding?
what?
A hug from Lucas.
Did he not get one?
No.
Did he just get like a fist bump or something?
Yeah, and they like talked, which was great. But imagine if that episode ended with a hug from Lucas.
That would have been better.
uh,
Well, Haley has a meltdown. Do you have any more notes?
Oh no, that's my last note.
All right. I can say that we don't have any crack ships for
Here's
this
my
one.
crack ship.
What?
The police chief and his friend who they both bullied. They are in love now. That's my crack ship.
Well, if we're making that a segment, okay, but definitely not our best.
No.
I would say that this episode doesn't actually have any like really background characters, so you know, what can you do? I guess.
Oh
I'm
my god,
not-
wait!
What?
I just remembered a really important note that I had while we were watching it.
What?
Jake Devins, the sheriff, the father of Andrea and grandfather of Lucas, looks like knockoff Will Ferrell.
He
That's
does
all.
look like knockoff work.
I just wanted
That's
to say
it. That's
that.
it.
That's it.
Yeah, I don't love that crack ship, but it's fine.
It's not a good one.
It's not a good one, but there's not many characters in this episode, which works really well, I have to say. The characters in this episode are so good, especially compared to the last episode where I did not give a fuck about any of them. Like,
Yeah.
I cared about these characters. Like, I felt for Andrea. I love Lucas. Like, I hate the sheriff and also Bill, but, like, you can also feel their pain. Like, they did a really great job with their minor characters in this episode.
Yeah, like there's
They
the
did a-
scene where Bill is like on the dock looking at the water and he's like, I lost both of my kids, and you're like, ouch, sorry, dude. And that's before you find out that he killed somebody when he was a child. So like it's just like, ouch, sorry, dude. But then you find out that he did kill somebody as a child and you're like, well,
Yeah. But they
I
did
mean-
such a good job with the characters, and it's I think it's because we are now watching these weekly, and it's like you can tell that these characters in comparison to episode 2's characters are so much more fleshed out, and I think maybe it's because they're more tied to the monster of the week, so we're forced to learn more about them and not spend 25 minutes walking around the woods cracking jokes. But it's really good, and I think it's one of the strengths of the episode is like you care, and they make it suspenseful. Like even like the jerky asshole brother that drowns in the sink, like he's an asshole to his sister, but like because he says something about like guys don't like beefy girls or something or whatever, and you're like, oh my god, what a dick.
Yeah.
But then, like, when you see him talk about, like, his sister dying and him trying to take care of his dad, like, you feel for him and you're terrified when he dies, and it's very effective. It's
and also, like, what a terrible way to go.
It's a terrible way to go. It's a bad way to go. Yeah. So this episode was brought to you by Black Toast Music's What a Way to Go.
I was going to say Bad Company's Moving On, because I do remember that playing, because I think I was
I don't remember Black Toast Music's What a Way to Go playing. I just thought that was a really good segue.
Yeah, it was a really good segue.
Okay, last thing. Sorry this one went a little long, but this truly is, like, I think it's one of their best Monster of the Week episodes.
It's just good. We need to talk about the good episodes while they last.
Yeah, we have to talk about them while they last because they're not gonna last.
Let us have this.
Let's see. My favorite thing on the wiki is either the fact that the Hungarian title for this episode is literally just drowning.
Very good.
Or it's the fact that under trivia, it says antagonist Peter Sweeney. As if that is a fun fact and not like
fun fact.
And not like, you know, like the reveal of the mystery of the show, of this episode. Like, that's not a fun fact. That's just the plot.
God, very good.
Is yours the continuity still?
Yeah, so my favorite thing on the Wikipedia is the entire continuity section on supernatural.fandomwiki.com/wiki/dead_in_the_water. Because the first one is about Dean with children. And then the second one is about Swan Song, which is one of my other favorite episodes. I don't want to talk about it.
We're going to have to talk about it eventually, but
that today is not that day, and I refuse to talk about it today.
Yeah.
But
Haley loves that section.
I just love Dean with kids. Sorry about it. But you know what, Taya, I have a question for you.
Yeah?
Do you think we're going to go on a plane next week?
I don't know. Do you think well, I can't give you any more questions because I don't remember this episode at all.
Yeah, I don't either. This is gonna be crazy.
This is gonna be wild.
Also, like, disclaimer, I did just realize that I literally am going on a plane next week, so this is gonna be a little bit awkward for me.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out a recording schedule, my dude.
Well, I'm just thinking of the fact that the plane crashes in the episode.
I know, we're gonna have to figure out a recording schedule, my dude, because I think we have to record 2 episodes.
Yeah, so it's fine. But anyway. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Catch you on the flip side. Bye.
Bye.